multi-million project you've got going here. Have you broken even yet?
No, of course not. We are still in investing phase, building new ski lifts, new hotels, new infrastructure. But looking at, for example, the hotel The Shedi in Andermatt, this is already getting quite good profits out after a few years.
And in terms of investors, where do you look for those?
Well, I mean, finally, what we do here, we build up a new tourism destination. And this destination, at the end of the day, has to be an overall product which fits all our customer, all our clients' requirements. So we still, as mentioned before, invest a lot into the ski arena to build new ski lifts, new restaurants, new facilities. And parallel to that, we develop the whole destination step by step to the future.
And it's brand spanking new. It's a real development from scratch. This is almost
Absolutely.
no man's land before.
I mean, Andermatt has been more than 100 years a military destination. And now, after the military, the Swiss Army has left, we are going to build it back to a tourism destination. And it's brand new from the scratch, because before there was only a small village with a few hotels, very old ski lift, you know, and now we're really building it up to one of the top destinations in the Alps.
And how is it received by Swiss visitors? Because when I think of Andermatt, I think of the Chedi, I think of a Swishy sort of fancy new resort, and that's comparable to, say, the older, more traditional villages and towns throughout Switzerland for skiing. Do Swiss people like this brand new development?
Absolutely, they do. You know, I mean, first of all, we are in a very central position. It's very easy to get to Andermatt with public transport as well as by car. So Swiss people, they don't like to spend too much time by driving to the destination. So that's something they really like. And on the other hand, you know, we built a new destination with new hotels, new restaurants, new ski lifts, you know. And people like that dynamic, that lifestyle, you know. They want to discover something new. So we are very positively impressed about how many Swiss are even coming to us.
You mentioned ease of getting here, yet I came from Zurich. It took about 4 changes to get here. Are you looking at more direct routes in with the train?
Yeah, the trains are now, this is one of the weak points today. We are working on that issue to have more direct trains coming up to Andermatt. This will already change now this year. And also in the future, you know, they build a new train station here in Andermatt, but also down in Altdorf, and this will also heavily increase the direct access for the public transport.
And in terms of the visitors, you said a lot of Swiss visit. You do have the main investor who is Egyptian. Does it attract also the foreigners from the Middle East, for example?
Of course it does. You know, for example, I just was now a week in China. You know, we have also an increasing demand of China, because special foreign people living in large cities, you know, they like to come to such a destination because we offer here pure nature. We have a very fresh air, we have very sunny days, we are up in the mountains, we have the best water you can get, you know, and with these new developments, new hotels, it's really a new lifestyle where people, a lot of foreigners really prefer to spend their holidays.
And how much do you have to fight for the clientele? When you look at competition elsewhere in Switzerland, do you have to do a lot in terms of promoting the resort, advertising, that sort of thing?
Well, in the last few years, of course, we were more focused on making the product ready, bringing the new hotels alive, bringing the new ski resort, the new golf course alive for the summer. And now, of course, we move more into the operational procedure. We do more promotion, we do more marketing. We go more into the new markets like China. We are just going out to start up right now. And we have very positive impacts there, because a lot of people still look for such new destinations. Feedback
I have is that sometimes the resort is seen as only for very advanced skiers, perhaps not so family-friendly. Is that something you're looking at? Yeah,
I mean, in the past probably that was a little bit like that, but meanwhile, you know, we really changed that. We still will have, mainly with the Gemstock, with this black mountain, we still have the mountain for very good experienced skiers, also for free riders, you know. But on the other hand, where we have now built the new ski lifts, connection to Zedrun, this is really a ski resort for beginner, for intermediate skiers, for families, you know, for even for aged people. And also there we invested a lot into having family restaurants, having ski school areas, etc. So this is now really covering the whole scope of different needs of the people.
And a lot of the buildings in your project, in the development, are apart hotels, are private homes, not just hotel rooms. How do you manage this idea of ghost towns in Swiss ski villages, whereby some seasons the properties are vacant?
Yeah. Well, on the first, I have to say we are at the end of the day a real estate company. So we develop new apartments, new hotel service apartments, which we sell to clients. And here we have a high demand from foreign buyers because first, foreign buyers, they have the right to buy in Switzerland with the same conditions as Swiss buyers. We have a special exemption of the Swiss rules because normally you can't buy land or properties in Switzerland. Here in Andermatt you can. And secondly, we have a product that we sell the apartment, but we also offer rental service. So if you don't use your apartment for yourself, you can give it to us to a so-called rental program. And then we rent out the apartment for the rest of the period.
And how did Andermatt earn itself the right to sell to foreigners in a different way?
Because we had very good connections with the government, and they found out, well, they wanted to help this destination to become a tourism destination. They understood also that it makes sense to have a good mix of Swiss buyers and foreign buyers. And that's why the government decided 10 years ago to give a special exemption on that rule.
It's a huge financial risk, though, when you consider, well, the strengthening Swiss franc as well. Would you say that risk and reward, it's imbalance there?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you buy an apartment here in Switzerland, if you own a real estate apartment or project here, then there is no risk there because Switzerland is such a stable environment, such a stable nation, that even looking at the real estate prices in the last 50 years, they increase year over year.
So but for the development itself, it was a huge bet to
for
have
the
so many
side,
rooms available.
Of course, in the beginning, you always have to do some pre-investments. You have to do some infrastructure, which at the end of the day, everybody needs, but you have to pay by yourself. But looking now at the long-term view, now as we have that done, as we have the ski, as we have the golf, we have the new hotels, there is no more risk in it at all.
And what about the local community? Because we know in Switzerland you typically have to have the buy-in of your local community, the votes have to get passed. Are they happy to support such a project?
Yeah, so far, this region had no really a future in front of that, and that's why the local government of Uri, as well as here the authorities in Andermatt, they really still strongly support this project because it gives a new future to them. It will employ a lot of people, it will bring new people into this destination. And at the end of the day, we are designed to be a tourism destination.
And are you also drawing interest from abroad in terms of workers here for the season?
Yeah, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, we will have a lot of people working for us, mainly in the winter time, of course, when the hotels are full, when the ski arena is working. And that's why this gives new opportunity to the people living in that region.
Can you imagine one day in the future to maybe host something like the Winter Olympics?
Well, Switzerland, I think, will be the right destination for another Winter Olympic Games because we really offer the mountains, the snow, the real skiing. We are the right destination to do that. But on the other hand, looking today at such large events, there is so much, it's very complicated in terms of security, etc. So I'm not sure if Switzerland, which finally should be a destination where people can enjoy their holidays, I'm not sure if Switzerland really is willing to do that again.
Now, you're an Uri man, you grew up here. How have you experienced the change, and specifically in this region, from almost nothing to everything?
Yeah, as mentioned already, first it was a military, Swiss army destination. There was not really much ongoing on the tourism side. Other destinations were miles ahead of Andermatt, and that really led to the point that it was quite a negative perception here in Andermatt. And since Saviris arrived 10 years ago, developed this master plan with the hotels, with the houses, with the restaurants, with the golf, a lot of changed. People start to believe into the future, and even in the existing village of Andermatt, most of the owners, they have now also invested into their objects, in their shops, in their hotels. So it really changed the mind a lot.
Is it a feeling of pride, of being proud of what you've achieved?
Absolutely. People are proud what happens here in this region because it's absolutely unique anyway. I mean, you will not be able to find another place in the Alps that you could develop such a project at today's age, you know. And here in Andermatt, this story really takes place. And that's why people are very proud and people are really very much in favor of being part of that. And this also attracts a lot of other people who come now to Andermatt, buy properties, invest in Andermatt because it will be a great future we're heading to.
And how do you personally stay passionate in your role as CEO of the development?
Well, if I not would be passionate, I wouldn't be here, you know, because I always said I was traveling 80% of my time all around the world, in South America, in Asia, in Europe, of course. And I always came back and said, this is such a huge potential here, what we could do. And the tourism industry is growing, growing, and growing. And we are so well located in the heart of Europe, very close to two international airports, Zurich and Milan. Very easy to get access to this place. And as mentioned, you know, with the pure nature, with the snow, with the sun, with the fresh air and water, this is really a destination where people want to be.